Thank you. That was great, David. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
So we can all say we knew you when. It is so wonderful to be back here with you. It feels like I haven't been here forever. Lots going on in that time. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful cards, your love, your prayers. As some of you have seen the picture I've been sending around that was true a month ago, I'm healing very quickly, and I give you full credit for that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I understand there's lots of interesting things going on around here. It's, not so that we'll get settled into get bored with how things are. Let's change them up, right? Whether we want to or not.
Right.
But you see, when I understood that I was going to be speaking about prosperity today, that there was a congressional meeting and you all would be talking about important things, and I was just feeling into it like, prosperity. That's this old, tired word that we hear about, prosperity. What is that? Did you know that prosperity has nothing to do with money?
Yeah.
Oh, you knew that.
Yeah.
Well, see, you're way ahead of me. I thought it was all about money. No, it isn't. It's about the whole experience of the flow, the divine flow, the divine energy that is constantly moving and regenerating itself and expanding itself. And it expands itself in the places and where that which is willing allows it to. And so if you're not having a wonderful, juicy dance with the divine flow, it isn't the fact that the divine flow doesn't exist. Is that the doors and windows may not be open far enough to allow it to come in.
Oh, it's coming in.
Is that it? Is that the divine flow coming in? I don't know if it's something I'm doing, but anyway, that's the part that I would love for us to really get this morning, because there's so much noise out there that is everything but this, right? And it causes us to have to be very mindful, very aware, very intentional about where we're putting our intention, our focus, because that's the thing. Jesus, one of the great master teachers, Jesus said to us, is that allow God to be at work inside of you. Let that be your focus. And if you'll do that, all things shall be added unto you. Did you get that's what he meant when he said that?
Absolutely.
He's given us the whole game plan right there. He's given us the secret right there.
Would you repeat that phrase again, please?
What did I say?
Let's go, let's go.
Well, exactly. Jesus said, be about God inside. Let God be what's at work inside of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because as we do that, all things shall be added unto us. But that's the key. That's the trigger. That's the thing. And so if that's not happening for you in your life, or that's not what feels like is going on in this church, then there's some work to do. And it's not about being wrong or bad or negative or anything. It's just about refocusing, shifting our focus, being more, it's like if you're on the sailboat, and those of you who are sailors in here know how to adjust the boat to take the greatest advantage of the wind, to go in the direction that you want to go. Right? So that's what's important here. And I know that it probably doesn't feel like it was that long ago when this congregation was looking at making a huge change, about where its church home was going to be. You all, those of you, many of you were here then, you remember that. And it was a complete unknown. I don't know. We know we're going to sell this church, and as soon as you guys decided that indeed you were ready to sell, it sold. Right? It took a while for everybody to get on board. But once everybody did, done. Because that's what happens. That's what happens. Once you're on board, it moves. You move. If you're not moving, then everything isn't on board. And there's where the work is. So it's not about a make wrong. It's not about I'm not doing this right. It's just the way you can tell. If it isn't moving, if the answer isn't there yet, if you don't see the next step yet, then right now is to get focused on what it is that you're wanting. This church has been through, this group, this spiritual community, this spiritual family has been through a lot together. A lot. Over a long period of time. And now you're gathering your energies again to move to the next step of evolution for this community. And because you have been through a lot together, and because you are a strong body together, the tapestry is very, very snug and tight together the way it's supposed to be so it doesn't fray and unravel. To those who much is given, much is asked. And you all are being asked to come together again and look at what the next step is going to be. And it may be another huge change. Looks like it may be. Can you do it?
Yes.
Will you do it?
Yes.
Do you have parts of you that are going, oh my God, not me. Can't we ever just be settled down for a few years? I mean, do we have to go through it again?
Yes.
Mortal mind, mortal mind.
Mortal mind, that's right, Marilyn. That's it. Because you see, it's so powerful. It's so powerful what we focus our attention on. If we're focusing our attention on what are we going to draw to us? Let's say it together. Exactly. Hello. And so it's an opportunity where in this moment maybe we don't have a clue what the next step is going to be. But what we know is that we're going to take it together. And we've done it before. And look what you created out of that. Because I promise you, I was there that first Sunday after you were out of the church building in the college. In the college cafeteria, was it?
Yeah.
And we were all looking around at each other like, what? What are we doing here? Right? Remember that? And we had no idea what the next step was going to be. But look what happened. Look what you all co-created. Look what you drew to you. And there were many, many blessings in it. Was there growth opportunities? Oh, of course there were. Did you have to stretch? Was a lot asked? Yes. And look who you are now. And you're being asked again to step up because you've got it, my friends. You guys can create anything. All things are possible right here, right now. The only limitation is the limitation that you put on it by this. Or the neener. There's the limitations. If you all are saying, okay, obviously it's time, we're going to do something different, let's go for it. What's it going to be? What could it look like? What would you as a group like to co-create together? Is there something that you all a statement you want to make together? Do you want to be more a part of the community at large in Bremerton? Do you want to be more part of the giving community? Do you want to be more part of the healing community? Do you want to be more part of a celebratory community? Do you want to have little bits of all of that? There's no wrong way to go. But you have to be willing. You have to open the mind, the windows and doors of possibility, of considering that Spirit's wanting to move in big time because it sees this is fertile ground. We have to allow it. We have to say yes. David can tell you, because we were together when I first spoke after I had my surgery. I was recounting how I haven't had surgery since 1976, and he will tell you that I shared that what I noticed about having between now and then are the drugs are better now. Yeah, I gotta say. When I was lying there waiting to go, because I thought I was going into a little clinic to have a little thing removed and go home, you know. And then they couldn't get it the first time, so they had to do it 2 times. And then after the second time, they couldn't close it. So then they said, well, you're going to have to go into Swedish to a plastic surgeon, and he's going to take you into the operating room under general anesthesia and close it. And I'm going, oh, no, really? So anyway, I had to go do that. And so I'm lying there waiting to go into the operating room. And I realized that this is the absolute moment of surrender. Total. Because there isn't another thing that I personally, Joanna, could do about this. I was giving it over to the folks in there in that room and said, okay, this is yours. And of course, I'm calling God into the whole thing. The surgeon, the anesthesiologist, the circulating nurse, the scrub nurse, everybody, the drugs, everything into it. Using it, being the vehicle and vessel for that energy to express through all of it. But there wasn't another thing I personally could do. And I realized that I wish that I could get, that I wouldn't have to have surgery to get that this is the most powerful moment where I'm not giving up. It isn't a sign of weakness. We think of surrender so often in our culture as weakness. It's not. It's a very powerful stance to say, okay, use me. Use me. I get that nothing bad is going to happen here. Nothing bad could happen. Even if I died on the table, nothing bad was going to happen there. And so the opportunity to just really get that and be present and allow it is powerful. All things are possible as a result. And indeed, it isn't about going in for surgery under the knife here that we're talking about today, but we are talking about stepping into an unknown. And for many of us, the ego hates the unknown. Hates it. Makes it wrong. If it doesn't have files on it, no. And so knowing that as conscious beings, we have to move through that and past it to a place of, you know what? It's all good here. It's all positive here. No, we don't see it, but we know it's possible, and we're open to it. Whatever that looks like, wherever that takes us, we can do it. There will be the money. There will be the resources. There will be the people. There will be the space. It may be that Spirit is moving to you to a place that doesn't also house a funeral home and crematory. I'm just saying, it's possible. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just saying. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I'm not saying that, but you know, it may be. And what we could do, and what would be really helpful to do, my friends, is to really know together that the absolute perfect space is in the process of becoming available to you through all kinds of things coming together and connections being made and all this stuff that goes on all the levels of creation and co-creation right now. are happening for you. So that the moment you are ready to say, okay, let's do it. Bingo. And it's the winner takes all. Because that's what you drew to you. That's what you created by trusting the process, by opening the doors and windows, by letting yourself surrender, knowing that what you're surrendering to is the unfoldment of divine order. Questions or comments about that?
Most of you know about my new fur baby, and for many, many, many years, I've been searching for her, for various reasons in my own personal life. And as I was talking to you this morning, I realized I had to do the work for me before she came into my life. And as soon as it was time, everything, all the pieces fell into place.
Yeah.
And it was just, it happened in about 2 hours, and I had her in my arms and was taking her home. And it was just amazing how that happened. And some of you can attest that I have been looking for a small doll like this for months. And, I had to be good for me in order to be able to draw her to it.
Oh, Tracy, thanks for that. That's a perfect example. Indeed, it's an internal process. That's what Jesus meant. The kingdom of God is within you. So where do we look? Within us. When we look outside, we're wasting our time and our energy and our money and whatever. Once we do that inner work, whatever that looks like, and we trust the process, and loving ourselves, forgiving ourselves, accepting ourselves is a good place to start. That allowing it's like it moves stuff out of the way, and you can see, and some of those windows are painted shut, I'm willing to bet. I know mine have been, and I don't know, maybe you have to be a certain age to remember painted shut windows. Remember painted shut windows? Anyway, that whole painted shut window thing. That it's that inner work that starts to take the stylus to cut across that paint so that you can get that wooden window open. And oh, when that breeze comes in for the first time, oh, what a blessing. How wonderful is that? But you see, that's the thing. That's where that work is. If it isn't happening, if you're not clear, if you're not okay with the unknown, that means that the ego's in charge, because it remembers all the stuff that happened in the past. Well, the last time. Remember the last time. Remember that? Oh boy. Oh, we don't want to go there again. Oh boy. And it's like, okay, yeah. And we learned from that. Okay? We learned from that. We don't have to go there again. We got it. But if we're going to focus on that, and oh my God, this could happen, and do, and this, and oh boy, what are you going to draw to you, my friends? The very same thing. It's what you focus on. If you're focusing on the negative, you're going to draw the negative. There's nothing else to say about it. So focus on the positive, and for the church, focus on it together. Do your individual work and bring that work here so that you can do it together and draw to you the perfect next step, whatever that looks like. And it's okay that we don't know what it is today. We don't have to. That's right, Marilyn. We don't have to. We trust the process. We trust that the next step is going to unfold absolutely as it needs to. And we trust it.
That's what, just like what you just said, how the church, they were somewhere else. They didn't have the ideal place. I mean, it was like sometimes you have to let go
Absolutely.
of what you have in order to make room for that something new. I mean, that's what Agape has just done. They let go of their lease. I mean, they're looking at, thousands and thousands of people. And, and I know what he's wanting, a place to build a hotel and everything else. And so they're in a temporary place too, right now. And it's ideal, the Savon Theater, but It's just like the church did, and you're really reminding me how you have to let go sometimes
do.
of what you have in order to make space for that.
Yes.
Indeed. Yes, dear.
This can really relate to phases in your life too. Not knowing what's coming, where you're gonna be,
Indeed.
what the plan is.
Phases of our lives, one phase ending, another beginning, and not knowing what the next step is going to be. And it's really hard for the next thing to come in when we're still holding on really tight to the past. And we do that. Why? Because of identity. If I don't identify with this anymore, then who am I? When I work with people who are grieving, very often they are grieving the pain and suffering of losing someone they love. It's really huge, of course, but it's no bigger than the loss of identity that they had in that relationship as this person's partner or this person's father or this person's daughter or whatever it was. Who am I now if I'm not that anymore? Do you see what I'm saying? And so because that feels like an unknown, we'll hang on to the past thing because we don't want to let it go because we don't know, well, if I'm not that, then am I nothing? Who am I? And like I said, the ego hates that space. Makes it wrong. Oh, makes it wrong. Makes you wrong. Makes everybody else wrong. Right? So there's got to be a willingness to let go. It's like that space. I've given a talk, maybe I gave it here, I can't remember, about the in between the trapezes.
Right.
Remember that? That place where you're swinging out and before you're reaching out before the next one gets there. That space in between. That's faith. That's faith right there. And that's what we're being asked, is to have faith that it's going to work out, and it's going to work out great. And we know that. And that's what we're drawing to us. Yeah, we don't know what it is. None of us knows what it is in this moment. And that's okay. Make it fun. Because in this moment, there are no limitations. You could be meeting on, one of the ferries that they're taking out of commission or something. Wouldn't that be fun? I just made that up. Whatever.
They do casinos, why not a church?
The casino, one of the casinos? Did you
No, I said they make casinos out of ferry boats, why not a church?
Restaurant.
That's right. They make casinos out of ferry boats. Why not a church? There are no limitations at this point. The only limitations there would be are the ones that you place on it. So don't. Don't. And know that you're backed up in that. And so let's take a moment to get very still. Breathe. And let's just feel our presence here in this moment of now. Our job is breathing and allowing. Breathing and allowing. That's the task. That's your to-do list. Breathe and allow. Say yes. Feel how even in this moment of now you are completely supported. The chair is supporting your body. And the floor is supporting your chair. And the ground is supporting the floor. And the earth is supporting the ground, and the universe is supporting it all. You are held. You are held in this moment of now by divine essence, by the embrace of divine love. Feel it. Can you feel it? Like the biggest and warmest hug you ever felt. Breathing, and if we listen very carefully, we hear divine essence whisper, I see you, I feel you, I've got you. I've got you. You are safe. You are held. You are embraced. And no matter what's going on out there, no matter how many unknowns, know I am here and I've got you. And nothing's going to go on out there that you and I cannot manage together. Nothing. And yes, as a group, we're looking at a next step. I'm here. I'm in the midst of it. Listen. Open. Allow. There are new beginnings, new possibilities, new directions. And we're going to live it together. And there will be enough. There is always enough. And as I hold you here, as you feel yourself embraced, there may be someone you know who could really use my embrace right now, who could really use that feeling of being held, of that safety. Feel free to say their name out loud right now. And for those in our community, in our state, in our country, in our world, that as you are held, all life is lifted up. And for this reminder, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.